Welcome to the bizarre and chilling world of SS. The 1973 sci-horror flick you probably missed, but definitely won't forget after this. This movie where mad science, serpents and slow burn body horror slither into your nightmares, so buckle up. We're diving into tell where snake isn't just snake and science isn't just science. We start in small town where seemingly kind but eccentric herpetologist Dr. Carl Stoner, remote home with his daughter Kristina. Stoner's passion, snakes, lots of them. He runs Venom Research Lab and even does local carnival shows with his prized king cobra. Dr. Stoner's last assistant mysteriously vanished, so he hires fresh-faced college student named David Blake to help with his research. David is eager, a little naive, and completely unaware that this internship is about to take a venomous turn. Stoner starts injecting David with a vitamin serum, claiming it's to help him resist snake venom. Spoiler, it's not just vitamins. David and Kristina slowly develop a romantic connection, but David also starts noticing changes. David begins having strange side effects. His skin starts peeling, he becomes photosensitive, begins to lose body hair. Classic horror movie red flags. Meanwhile, Stoner continues the injections, assuring David that it's all part of the process. We learn that Stoner believes humanity is doomed and wants to help evolution along by turning humans into snakes, which he sees as the next superior species. Totally normal stuff, right? One day, Stoner even kills nosy colleague using cobra bite just to cover his tracks. This is when the audience really gets that Stoner is way beyond the average mad scientist. He's full-blown snake-obsessed delusional. Back in the lab, David is losing his humanity. Literally, his spine elongates, his skin gets scaly, and his body starts warping in grotesque ways. All the while, Kristina is completely in the dark. Eventually, Kristina discovers the truth. She finds disturbing research notes and realizes her father has been using David as a test subject in his twisted experiment. But it's too late. David is now more serpent than man. Unable to speak, his body distorted. Stoner has succeeded, or so he thinks, as Kristina confronts her father. Climax: Bruce, one of Stoner's more dangerous snakes, escapes and attacks him. Poetic justice death. Very creatures he worshipped. David, now fully transformed into cobra-like creature, slithers away, confused and horrified by his own existence. The film ends on deeply unsettling note. Kristina is devastated, left to process what her father did and what David has become. In the final scene, traveling sideshow features strange new exhibit, two-headed snake. Horrifying result of another one of Stoner's experiments. The movie closes with a message that's tragic than terrifying, that the cost of playing God isn't just death, it's transformation beyond recognition. SSS's slow burn, skin crawling, descent into madness, mutation and moral decay. It's not your typical monster movie. It's tragic tale of science gone serpentine. The experiment in SS are absolutely not realistic and can't be done in real life, but this fun launchpad to talk about science, genetics and how sci plays with real concepts. Let's break it down. The premise: turning human into snake. Dr. Stoner claims he can transform human into snake through series of injections, his so-called a vitamin serum. Over time, this causes his assistant David to slowly mutate into reptilian form. Sounds wild, right? That's because it is. Why it's not scientifically possible. Different species equals different genomes. Humans and snakes diverged hundreds of millions of years ago on the evolutionary tree. Our DNA, structure and biology are completely incompatible. You can't just inject someone with something and overwrite their entire genetic code to turn them into another species. That's not how DNA works. Genetic modification doesn't work that way even with CRISPR and modern gene editing. The idea of rewriting full-grown adult human into another species is pure fantasy. Changing few genes, maybe. Completely rewriting someone into cold-blooded reptile, not chance. It would require rewriting every cell in the body and reconstructing the entire anatomy, from bones to skin to internal organs. The body can't morph like that. The slow transformation David undergoes would destroy the body before anything. Reptilian could even develop, bones breaking and reforming, organs changing shape, skin turning to scales. It would be physically catastrophic. Our bodies aren't built to undergo metamorphosis like an insect or amphibian. Snake traits can't just be injected, or things like venom resistance, skill, development, or forked tongue are encoded genetically. There's no serum that can. Out of these features to human, it would be like trying to install Mac software on Windows machine using fruit juice. The sci-angle, what makes SSS interesting is that it borrows from real science, venom research, evolutionary biology and gene theory, and warps it into a horror narrative. Back in the 1970s, genetic engineering was still in its infancy. There was a lot of mystery and fear around what science could or might do in the future. The film tapped into those anxieties. It's more of metaphor than a science lesson. In summary, could scientists turn someone into snake through injections? Absolutely not. The science is complete fiction, but it's creepy, campy example of science fiction horror playing with the idea of evolution, mutation, and identity. Kind of like Snake Eating the Fly. The kind of fascinating controversy given to the movies was a funny one because SS didn't cause huge public outrage or scandals, but it did stir up some controversy, especially in few specific areas: animal treatment and snake safety. One of the biggest concerns post-release came from animal welfare groups. The film used a lot of real snakes, both venomous and non-venomous, and the way some scenes were shot raised eyebrows. Real venomous snakes like cobras and rattlesnakes were used on set. There were questions about whether the animals were treated humanely. Animal handlers were involved, but since this was the early S70s, regulations weren't as strict as they are now. This was pre-American Humane Association standard. No animals were harmed, oversight becoming widespread in Hollywood. No major lawsuits happened. Animal rights activists criticized the film for potential endangerment and exploitation of the snakes. Ethical science and body horror at the time of release. There was growing public anxiety around biotechnology, genetics, and the ethics of science. SSS was seen by some critics as exploiting fears about medical experimentation, especially with how casually Stoner manipulates David's body without consent. The idea of being experimented on without knowledge touched on real-life concerns about unethical medical practices. It unintentionally echoed darker histories like the Tuskegee syphilis study, which had just been exposed to the public in 1972. Year before this movie came out, while the film itself didn't explicitly reference these real-world events, the timing made some viewers uncomfortable with how easily it brushed over consent and human experimentation. Marketing versus a movie tone. Another point of mild controversy was how the film was marketed. Posters and trailers made it look like cheesy creature feature monster movie, but the actual film is slow, psychological, and tragic. For more fantastic movie recaps, follow this YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the likes button and turn on your notification bell. See you on the next video.